Hold up.
Hello and welcome to the Say Yes Movement podcast with Heather and John, where we help you with your professional and personal growth, helping you say yes to all the scary stuff. Hey Heather, how's it going?
It's going good, John. It's going good. How about yourself?
Yeah, listen, for a Wednesday, it's beautiful. I was out this morning, went for a walk. It was a bit fresh, but it's all good. It's all good.
It's all
Listen,
good.
movement, it's all getting the movement in every day. 30 minutes is what I'm committed to. And even when it's like -4, -5 hitting you smack in the face, it's okay. It's good to just get out there and just to move. And especially as we get into the colder months, I know a lot of people like to just hibernate and, you know, just kind of put themselves in situations where they get all cozy and not move, and moving's good. Moving's
Moving's good. And you know what? If you wear the right clothes, you're going to be
good.
actually more warm. So I've been pulling out my winter sweaters and my boots and my hats, and I'm like, yes, the winter is here. I love the seasons.
Yeah.
I love the change that it brings and the excitement of something new. And I know we don't need seasons to bring that awareness for us, but it is a moment in time for us to just bookmark what is happening. And that helps us with our reflection of the year. It helps us plan for what next year looks like. And it also tells us to be in the moment, right? This is that moment where we celebrate with the people that we love. We start to go out for evenings and celebrate the cheer of this year. And
Mm.
I'm ready for it. I am ready. Bring it on.
Yeah, no, listen, me too. I'm getting ready for all the celebrations that are coming down, all the different gatherings. The one thing I'm incredibly excited about is just really being able to give back, right? So I'm going to be participating in a food group or a food bank, a program where I'm going to be doing some organizing some food for the food bank. And listen, just being around people giving is just so powerful. And this is what I love
Mm.
about this time of the year. And listen, the truth is we should be doing this at all times of the year. We shouldn't be just limiting ourselves to just the holiday seasons to give, but it's nice. It's refreshing. Just especially as entrepreneurs, right? Like as entrepreneurs, it's almost like being a lone warrior sometimes, and being a part of a group is a great way to reconnect, right? And just
Mm.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't know if you've got anything planned, but if you're open to it, you can come join us.
Okay,
It'll
that
be
sounds.
great. Yeah, yeah. I'll have to share the details with you for sure. But
I
it's
love
really
that.
good.
And
Really,
and
really
for
good.
our listeners out there, what is your give back and what is your commitment to
Mhm.
that give back? And there's different charities that I've worked with over the years. In fact, I just read an article, and John, you brought it up with the food bank, is what's the best food to
Mhm.
donate at this time? And one of the things that they get the most of, macaroni and cheese, like the Kraft macaroni and cheese, is actually one of the least favorite things because you need to have milk and butter, which are, not
Mhm.
always easy to get at the food bank. So
Yeah.
think about the things that you're giving also if this is the time to give. And I know in my community, they're coming on Sunday to pick up. And I'm thinking now when I go to the grocery store, okay, I'm going to bring like oil and like olive oil and different powdered milks
Mhm.
and things that are going to be a lot more useful. So there's a list. And I was like, you know what? I never thought of this list being so important. So, think about
Yeah.
how you want to spend your time and building that community. I'm not signed up this year, but I don't know why I'm not signed up, but I always work with $1 Million Smiles, and we would deliver
Oh
bears
yeah.
to children that were having some sort of illness. And it was like magical moments. We would bring these bears and they would just beam with delight. So, this is the time to bring that joy to as many people as possible. And that brings it to yourself. Whatever you give away, it comes back to you. So that's why we do
Yeah.
it.
The law of reciprocity. I love it. So two things are on my mind. So you just talked about donating crab cheese and macaroni as a don't do it because you need other ingredients for it. Years ago I was listening to this is why I love Toastmasters, because you learn so much, right? And there was a lady who runs a foundation that donates socks to homeless people. Because the one thing that people don't ever donate is socks, right? So there's,
Mm.
there's people that are out there that don't have socks. So just, think about that too. When if you're going to be donating any sort of apparel, clothes, jackets, make sure you include, a pair or two of socks, hopefully new ones. But just to get them, just to get, because there's a shortage. There is a shortage of
Mm.
people not having socks. So you want to donate that. So I just wanted to mention that. And the other thing I'd love for everybody to do as you're listening to this, as you're watching this, do you have a favorite charity of choice? Drop it in the comments. We'd love to know who you're going to be supporting this holiday season. I just talked about the food bank. Heather talked about $1 Million Smiles. There's actually even my accountant is doing something. My financial guy is doing something this weekend where he's putting baskets together for young ladies, for those that need it, and we're putting these packages together. So I'm going to be doing that this weekend coming up, which is it's amazing just to see how people are giving back, right? And there's something to be said, right? Like we're so fortunate. My word for the year was abundance, right? There's just so
Mm.
much, right? And the more I give, the more I receive, which is kind of, when you think about it, it's kind of intuitive, but it happens, right? Like it fills you up, it lights you up. When you're in a feel good state, this is when things really start to happen. And Heather, I know you and I, we were talking about this before we hopped on this call, was, getting into that flow state, right? And that flow state comes from
Yes.
that positive feeling that you have in your body. And, the more positive, the happier, the joyous you are, the more you get into flow. And when you get into flow, amazing things happen for you. And I'm sure some of you that are listening to this right now, you've been there, right? When things just kind of show up really easy, right? Like, oh yeah,
Yes.
that just happened for me, right?
Well, let's
So
talk about
get
that because I don't think everyone believes in this flow state or this manifestation. I know my husband often counteracts my flow state, not on purpose, but when I'm driving in a place, and this is something that anybody can use right now because the malls are about
Mhm,
to get super busy. But if you want to manifest a parking spot at the beginning, at the front, or at least even just a parking spot in the mall, you can start
yeah.
this process before you even leave your house and that parking spot is going to show up for you. And the reason I say my husband counteracts it is as soon as he drives into the parking lot, guess what he says out loud? There's
There's
no
no parking
parking.
spot.
There's no parking. And guess what you will find if you say there's no parking. And we're using a really fun and
Mm,
fun example, but this stuff works. And John, you actually said it to me the other day. Oh, I'm not worried. I always manifest a really good parking spot, so I'll be there on time.
yeah.
And you're just like, that's just what's going to happen. It's just a fact. So, what
Yeah.
does that look like, John? How do you manifest it? I just sort of gave a tip that it actually starts before you leave the house. Are you bringing the
Yeah.
right energy into your car? So, what else do you do?
Yeah, no, listen, you touched on a really good one. So you're right. I always find a parking spot close to the front, right? Like that's my expectation. That's what I leave the house with. And I'm lucky because Diane and I both think the same way, right? We're like, okay, we're gonna get a parking. Let's manifest. Like we kind of make it a game, and it comes back to how you feel, right? So we make a game of it. We're not like, oh, there's no parking. Like we go in with, we're gonna find a parking up front. We're gonna find a park. Like that is just the expectation when we leave the house. So that puts us into, and I just talked about this. Put yourself into a good feel state, right? When that feel good happiness comes from the inside, that's when things really show up in your favor. And the thing is, maybe it's coincidental, maybe it's causation, whatever that is. Maybe I'm just in the right place at the right time. So I just happen to be in the right place at the right time a lot of times, right? So, this is what we get to do, right?
Yeah. And
Yes,
it's how you're
mhm,
visualizing it. I have a really fun story, and it's quite a few years back, but I remember my niece, and she's 18 now, so this was when she was like 6. Um, I took her to a Wiggles concert, and Wiggles was big back then. It was the kids, and it was at the stadium of the Rogers Center, so it was a big,
mhm.
big audience for the Wiggles. And I remember before we went, I told her, I said, "Auntie Heather got you the best tickets ever." I had no idea where the tickets, I mean, I had some clue, but were they the best tickets? No, but I told her that. And when we got there, oh, I felt so bad because they were not the best tickets. They were the worst tickets. The Wiggles were about this big on the screen. And about halfway through the concert, she looked up to me with these cute little eyes and she said, "Auntie Heather, does everyone else know that they're in the best seats right now?" And I just like, I
Oh,
took a
wow.
deep breath and I thought, you know what? When you believe something and you say something, that's what it is. That's just the
Yeah.
truth that's around you. And so the truth that we're asking you to envision is the truth that you want for your life, the truth that you want for your future, the truth that you want for your family. And then what is the energy that needs to match that truth? So, when I'm going to Costco, I don't want the stress and the mayhem. I
Hmm.
want the parking spot. I want the easy flow of finding everything that I need and then out. And I've got a great Costco haul. But I'll tell you,
Yeah.
Costco can cause stress for everyone.
So it's funny. So actually, I want you to share your Sarah McLaughlin story because I think that's an incredible story
Mm,
around manifesting and really bringing, when you bring that energy to light, what can happen, right? Like what
yes.
is unimaginable becomes manageable. So I just wanted to share a Costco example. So here's, we talk about parking. So that's number one. We get parking out of the way. We're close. We're up front. We're never too far down the line. Like never. We're usually near the door. The other thing I do, and this is how I create my list, right? So when I walk into a store like that, especially at this time of the year, it doesn't matter what day of the week, it doesn't matter if you go in the middle of the day. I'm like, does nobody work? Is everybody shopping? I guess not, because I'm there too, right? So um, I visualize what I want to do before I get there. And you talked about this, right? Before you leave the house, visualize your visit, visualize that parking spot up front. So what I do is when I create my list, and Costco's funny, right? Because they keep moving things around, so people have to go search for things. So things are never really in the same spot except for some few staple items. So I visualize and create my list as I'm going through the store. So I'll visualize in my mind, okay, I want to pick up this, I want to pick up this, and so my list starts from the beginning of the store to the end of the store. And
In
then
the
it just
order
kind
that
of
you'll
takes
walk.
you, yeah, in the order that I'll walk,
Mm.
right? This way I never, like, I don't know how many times you've been in Costco. I've been there, especially if I'm not the one making the list. I'm like all over the place trying to get my stuff, right? And this is a great tool for life. This is a great tool for work too, right? Visualize the path that you want to take in advance of taking that path, right? So whether you're doing an Ironman, whether you're doing, you're walking in the mountains of Mongolia, just kind of seeing what it is you want to attract into your life and put together helps you get through it because you know where the ending's going to be too. So
Yeah.
I get myself through the line, I get myself to the register with with one person in line, which is usually the case, and I'm out of the store fairly quickly,
Well,
right?
and I
So
think that's
it's
that what's
that
important for
visualizing process. Yeah.
100% is that the processes we teach for your life are the processes that you use in your life. So you use
Hmm.
this process for visualization when you go to Costco. You use it when you go to the grocery store. You use it when you're driving to work to find the easiest path and the least resistance. You use it every single day. So these tools that we share are not tools for these big audacious goals. They're tools to
Hmm.
live your best life every single minute and every single moment. John, I'll share my Sarah McLaughlin story. You're
Yeah,
right. I
I
love
love
this
this
story.
story.
So Sarah McLaughlin is one of my favorite artists, and I would say to everyone, Sarah McLaughlin is my best friend, and I don't personally know Sarah McLaughlin. Well, that's sort of not true anymore, but
Anymore.
yeah, exactly. But I would say she's my best friend because she's been through, she's the music I listen to through emotional turmoil, through breakups, through anything that I've gone through in life, and so she's always been there for me. So I consider her a really good friend, and of course it's her music that is the friend part of it. And I always go to her concerts when she comes, and one year I applied and submitted an application to win a contest, and I submitted it, and I thought to myself, wow, I'm going to win this contest. And nobody can say that. And to submit it, you had to tell a story about how you shine on, based, and her it was because of her album. And so I wrote about my dad, and my dad had passed, and how I was shining on in light. And as soon as I sent it and thought to myself, oh, I'm gonna win. And then I forgot about it. I just like it was gone.
Mm.
It was like I just forgot about it. And a few weeks later, I got an email saying that I had won. And I then realized what I had won. I'd won, not only had I won to meet Sarah, but to be on stage with her. So I phoned
Wow.
my sister and I said, "What's better than front row seats?" Because we did have front row seats for the concert. She's like, backstage. I'm like, "What's better than backstage?" She's like, I don't know. I'm like, on stage. We're gonna be on stage. And of course, my sister's like, I don't sing. Like, what do you mean on stage? And what Sarah did is she created this experience where there was a couch, and she would come and talk to four of her audience members. It's on YouTube. You can see all of that. But it was one of those magical moments. But the manifestation, the clarity that I had for this moment was because I was on purpose for why I was writing my Shine On story. And
Mm.
I just said, oh, this is going to win. And it wasn't that I was being egotistical. I was actually summoning the universe to make it happen for me. And I was at the right energy. I did it with absolute love and clarity. And those were the magical ingredients that went into that application. And I won. So,
Yeah.
manifestation is absolutely possible. And, we both have tons of stories, but that of course is one of my all-time favorite ones. And there's a video to boot, and there's more to that story even that manifested afterwards. And I just don't have time to tell that, but we ended up having
Yeah.
our own videographer that was able to get tickets to the concert too. My brother-in-law was able to come as well. But anyways, it was just magical. So John, I think the message that we want to have for everyone is that what do you want to manifest, and what energy are you at right now that's limiting that manifestation from happening in your life? And it is your energy and the thoughts that you're having that's stopping that possibility from happening right now. And so write those down on a piece of paper. And that's the call to action I'm going to give out to everyone is write down what it is that you want and what is in your way. And then that what is in your way is probably what you need to work on.
Yeah. No, listen, I love that. And I know this is what we're going to be covering in our upcoming workshop as well. To hit any goal, you got to put yourself in the right state, right? And if you want to get there faster, getting into the right state sooner than later is what's going to help you propel yourself forward within that 90-day window. Because we're talking about hitting your first goal of 2024 in the first 90 days of 2024.
Yes.
And it's things like we're talking about right now, the power of visualization, being able to see yourself. Like you didn't even see yourself on stage. You just saw
No.
yourself meeting Sarah McLaughlin, right? And how beautiful is that? That something that you thought that would happen. Oh, I'm just gonna meet Sarah McLaughlin. I have a list too, right? Like I got my vision board of people that I want to meet and connect with, and it's just there for you, right? But you got to put yourself into that energy that it's going to invite that for you.
That's right.
And if you're not putting yourself into that energy, then it ends up kind of like a magnet, right? Your opposite ends of a magnet, and instead of attracting, you're propelling away from one another. And that's what we're going to be covering in our workshop, right? I'm so excited. Like this is something that we've never shared with people before, and we're taking all of our experience. You've been following us for some time. You know that this year has been an incredible year in terms of what we've been able to do. Over 100 episodes of this podcast, a speaker series, climbing mountains, and running Ironman, and just doing a bunch of different things that we didn't even know were possible. And that's what we want to share. That's the secret sauce. That's the formula that's the energy that we want to bring to you as we do this workshop. So we're going to include a link. It's below. All you need to do is register. There's no cost to join this, but it's going to be a light. It's going to be a game changer. So,
Yeah.
an hour with us on a Thursday afternoon. Why not? Like what else you
Wednesday.
got going on, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
super excited to just bring that to the world. Yeah, so excited. Okay, I can't believe we're already at time. It's kind of hard to
So
let this
quick,
slip
all
by
the
really quick.
time.
Yeah. So with that, thank you for tuning into this episode of the Say Yes Movement podcast. Remember, when you shift your mindset, you shift your life. Wishing you all a great one, and we'll catch you on Friday. Take care, everybody.